In a devastating blow to Iran's military command structure, 3 of the country's most senior defense officials, including the head of the Revolutionary Guards and Iran's highest-ranking military officer, were killed in Israeli airstrikes launched early Friday, in what is being described as the most significant targeted killing operation in the Islamic Republic's modern history. The high-profile assassinations come as part of Operation Rising Lion, an unprecedented Israeli campaign that reportedly struck deep into Iran's nuclear, missile, and military infrastructure, and now threatens to escalate into a full-blown regional war. Among the dead is Major General Hossein Salami, the powerful head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. Known as the face of Iran's military assertiveness abroad and internal repression at home, Salami was a central figure in Tehran's regional power projection strategy. He reported directly to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and had led the IRGC since 2019. A hardliner. By all accounts, Salami oversaw operations that armed proxy groups like the Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon, and played a central role in Iran's first ever direct missile and drone attacks on Israeli territory in 2024. In January, he was filmed inspecting an underground missile facility standing atop the flags of Israel and the United States, where Iran claimed to be manufacturing new special missiles. His tenure was not without controversy. Under his watch, an IRGC missile battery mistakenly shot down Ukrainian International Airlines Flight 752 in 2020, killing all 176 passengers. While an unnamed IRGC officer was sentenced to 13 years for the incident, Salami continued to rise in prominence. Security analysts are already drawing comparisons between his death and that of a US chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a loss with profound structural and symbolic consequences. Also killed was Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Iran's Chief of Staff and its most senior military officer. He presided over a force of more than 500,000 active personnel and served as the strategic coordinator between the country's various military branches. Bagiri had previously been sanctioned by the US Treasury in 2019 for his role in oppressing the Iranian people and advancing destabilizing policies. Despite his reputation in the West, he was a key figure in Iran's defense diplomacy. He was seen in 2017 visiting Iranian troops deployed to Syria, and just this April met with Saudi Defense Minister Prince Khalid bin Salman in Tehran. During that visit, a rare occurrence for a Saudi royal, Reuters reported that the Saudi minister warned Bagiri to take then-President Donald Trump's nuclear deal offer seriously to avoid an inevitable conflict with Israel. That warning, it seems, has come to pass. The third high-profile casualty was Ali Shamkhani, a former national security chief and longtime confidant of Supreme Leader Khamenei. Shamkhani, who served as Iran's top national security official from 2013 to 2023, was instrumental in Iran's 2023 rapprochement with Saudi Arabia, brokered by China. A seasoned diplomat and former IRGC commander, Shamkhani had also played key roles in Iran's earlier nuclear negotiations with the United States. Though abruptly replaced last year amid whispers of ambition that may have unsettled the clerical elite, Shamkhani remained a key advisor to the Supreme Leader. In April, just ahead of renewed nuclear talks with the Trump administration, he warned that Iran might expel UN nuclear inspectors if the Islamic Republic felt under threat. That threat, it appears, arrived from above. The deaths of these three men, the strategic brain, Bagheri, the operational muscle, Salami, and the diplomatic bridge, Shamkhani, are being interpreted in Tehran as a targeted decapitation strike, aimed at paralyzing the Islamic Republic's ability to coordinate a meaningful response. This is not just a military attack, this is psychological warfare of the highest order, said one Iranian analyst, speaking on condition of anonymity. While Iranian state television confirmed the deaths on Friday, there was no immediate response from Tehran's leadership. But expectations of a large-scale Iranian retaliation are growing by the hour. Iran has long vowed revenge for assassinations of senior officials, such as the US killing of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. With air raid sirens still echoing across Iranian skies and Israeli defenses bracing for retaliatory drone and missile strikes, the region is now teetering on the edge of an explosive new phase, one that may have just begun with the fall of three of Iran's most powerful men.
In the tense hours before Israeli warplanes launched a dramatic strike deep into Iranian territory early Friday, President Donald Trump had one clear message: don't do it. "I don't want them going in because, that would blow it," Trump said, referring to his ongoing diplomatic efforts to curb Tehran's nuclear ambitions. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ignored the warning, setting in motion a military confrontation that risks engulfing the entire Middle East.
Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict. Iran's going to have to negotiate a little bit tougher, meaning they're going to have to give us some things that they're not willing to give us right now. I'm the last person. I've kept us out of wars.
The strikes, which reportedly targeted Iran's primary nuclear enrichment site in Natanz, missile infrastructure, and killed 2 senior Iranian commanders, have now thrust Trump into one of the most consequential foreign policy crises of his presidency. With tens of thousands of US troops deployed across the region, the risk of American entanglement has escalated significantly. And yet, this was no surprise.
There's a chance of massive conflict. We have a lot of American people in this area, and I said, we got to tell them to get out, because something could happen soon. And I don't want to be the one that didn't give any warning.
According to senior officials, Trump and his aides were aware for days that Israel was preparing a unilateral military operation. The president, increasingly wary of foreign entanglements and determined to avoid another costly conflict, had personally urged Netanyahu to hold off, both publicly and privately. But Netanyahu, under political pressure at home and deeply distrustful of Iran, ignored the appeals. In a nationally televised address Friday morning, he framed the Israeli offensive, dubbed Operation Rising Lion, as a defensive necessity.
Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel.
Within hours, retaliation was underway. Israel's military confirmed that Iran had launched more than 100 drones toward its territory, prompting a full activation of Israeli aerial defense systems.
In the last few hours, Iran has launched over 100 UAVs from its territory and towards the state of Israel's territory. All aerial defense systems operate to intercept the threats. It is important to adhere to the Home Front Command's instructions. They save lives. This is different from what we have seen so far. We are still in for rough hours. We must be resilient and patient.
Caught between conflicting interests, Israeli escalation and American restraint, the Trump administration responded with a carefully worded, strikingly distant statement.
Tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region.
Devoid of traditional expressions of solidarity, the statement made clear: this is Israel's war, not America's. That message is likely to inflame tensions between Trump and Netanyahu, whose relationship has soured in recent months. While some Republican lawmakers, like Senator Lindsey Graham, rushed to applaud the Israeli strike, others inside the administration remain wary of being dragged into yet another Middle Eastern conflict without a clear American interest. With missiles in the air and diplomacy on the ropes, one fact remains clear: Netanyahu went to war not just against Iran, but against Trump's express wishes. And now the region may pay the price.